it's Becky from PowerToolsWithThread.com. That's my blog. I wanted to show you, I was in the middle of binding this quilt. This is the Christmas in the City quilt that I made last year, and I just finished it this year. It's a beautiful Irish chain quilt, and I wanted to put a label on it. And I remembered that Designs by JuJu has just come out with these adorable customizable quilt labels. And I think it just turned out so pretty. Let me bring it up close so you can see it. Look at that. It turned out just precious. I absolutely love it. Yes, I machine bind my quilts. If you want to see how I made this label, stick around and I'll show you how it's done. If you want to see more embroidery tutorials for especially beginner embroiderers, that's kind of where my niche is. But even seasoned embroiderers too enjoy just watching somebody enjoy their hobby as well. You need to check out my channel on YouTube, Power Tools with Thread. Click the subscribe button right below this video and hit the little bell so you get a notification when I put out more videos. So, all right, let's go to the computer. I'm going to show you how I made this, and then we're going to go to the machine and I'll show you how I did it. I'm in the middle of putting a binding on the Christmas in the City quilt, and I wanted to put a label on it, and I remembered that Designs by JuJu just came out with customizable quilt labels. I am on their site, designsbyjuju.com, and they've got them right here on the home page. I'm going to scroll down right here. Customizable quilt labels 1. I think this one will work. She just came out with some adorable chicken stuff. I'm going to be getting to that in a little bit, but I'm going to click on this, and you can see there's 6 of them in here, and made especially for, sewn by, especially for. This is great. I'm not making that quilt for anybody, but this one right here will work fine. It says handmade by. That's awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and purchase this bundle, and that way I can get that quilt label made real quick. I'm going to scroll down and click add to cart, and I'm ready to check out. I think I've got a couple of other things in my cart. Somebody in our Power Tools with Thread Facebook group had put, or maybe it was in Designs by JuJu's Facebook group, had done this beautiful sketch succulents, which are like the cacti, and had put them on the quilted mug rug set. And I want to get those too. So I'm going to go ahead and go to checkout, and I'll be right back with you guys. As soon as you finish your purchase, you've got view and download my order or continue shopping. Or you can come up here to my downloads and my orders. Either one of these 3 buttons will allow you to look. I'm going to go to my downloads and look at see, there's my sketch succulents. I like to use my downloads because if you use my orders, you won't be able to see the pictures. If you look at my downloads, you can see the pictures, and that's really cool. So right now, I'm just going to click this button that says download. When you choose download, it says choose a format. And you can download all formats, but that's going to give you the formats for every single home embroidery machine, and I don't need that. So if you're not sure which one to use, look in your book or just Google, say what kind of embroidery format does my Husqvarna use, and it will tell you. Or my Janome, whatever it is you want. But I'm going to go to PES. That is the embroidery format that my brother and Baby Lock machines use. So I'm going to click that, and it'll start up here. It's going to come down in my downloads, and it's a zip file. It's got a little zipper on it. And if you just open it right now, you can't use the files because they're compressed inside of that zip file. But if I open the folder, I can see the zipper on it, and it's real big because if you click on view, you can change the size. View button up here in the top menu bar, you can change the size of the icons. I just like to be able to see them. So I'm going to make sure it's highlighted. It's got a little check mark and it's blue. And I'm going to right click on it. And here, the menu that pops up, it says extract all. And I'm going to click extract. And there's my customizable quilt labels. And it says select a destination. It wants
to know where you want to save it. So I'm going to hit browse. I don't like leaving them in my downloads folder because they'll just accumulate and you cannot keep track of them. So I file my embroidery files in the My Documents folder. I have a folder called Embroidery, and then inside of Embroidery, I have other folders filed by subject, just like a library card catalog. So I'm going to come down to quilts. I think I have a folder for quilting. Quilt block squares, quilt word art, quilt labels. Here we go. There. Here are some quilt labels that I already have. I'm going to choose select folder, and then I'm going to click extract. Great. So now I have the customizable quilt labels. Here they are right here. Customizable quilt labels 1, PES. There they are right there. I'm going to double click this. And there they are. That's great. So we have different sizes. And down here where it says, this is the one I want, remember, and where it says 8 by 8, 6 by 10, 5 by 7, 4 by 4, that's not the size of the label. That's the size of the hoop that you need in order to be able to make that label. So let's say you only have a 4 by 4 hoop. You won't be able to see the 5 by 7 label because your machine cannot see files that are larger than your largest size of your hoop that your machine can take. But I want a little bitty label, so I want this one. Now I'm going to open up in Brilliance and we're going to customize this label. And I'm going to come up here to Preferences in this upper menu. It's that little yellow folder. And I want to change my hoop size. So when you click Preferences, what we've got is a folder that says Environment, and then there it's on hoops. And so you can click, see the little arrow changes, it moves. I want hoops, and I want the 4 by 4, which I believe is 100 by 100. I'm going to click this and see down here at the bottom it says approximately 4 by 4, and that's perfect. I'm going to click Apply, click OK. And then all I have to do, I'm going to come back down here to the yellow folder on the bottom, and I'm going to open this window by clicking it, and I'm just going to grab this and drag it into the hoop. Look at that. That looks great. So it says handmade by, and I need to customize this. So I'm going to come up to the A in the top menu, and that means to create letters. And you want to make sure you're on the letters tab. So we have color, we have letters, we have stitch, we have notes. I'm going to go to letters, and in the text box, the default that it comes up with says ABC, and that's a block. I'm going to go ahead and type Becky Thompson. That's what I love about Embrilliance is these are fonts that you can put in right off the bat. This block font stitches beautifully on just about everything, but you can see it's pretty big. And so instead of resizing it, I'm going to come over here to the drop down, and Designs by JuJu has a ton of 1/4 inch fonts, and that's really what I'm looking for, something that small. And so you can see it says DBJJ Salt and Lime 3/4 inch. There's 1/2 inch. Let's see, did she have? There's Kelsey. I've got to look through and see which ones had. This is 1 1/4. I have to go through here and look and find the one that's got a 1/4 inch. There's a, let's see, 1/2, 3. There's Charlie. If I click that, you can see it got real small. Let me get bigger. That's not too bad. And you really don't want to scooch that down too far. I would not resize these by using the handles right here. I would not resize that to make it smaller because it'll get to be a blob. And if you have any jump threads, they'll be absolutely impossible to cut. This is pretty small. If you look, I have my squares in 1 inch blocks on my grid. So that's just, that's not a bad size right there. If I click this button here, I can find another 1/4 inch stitch. Like this one here is very narrow. See how compressed those letters are? And let me see if I can find one. Maybe they've got one that is more narrow and it's a 1/4 inch. There's Frederick. Let's look at that one. See, that's really squished together. But you can play with this all you want and kind of figure out what it is that how you want your, here's Mimi Script. I think Mimi Script has a 1/4 inch, doesn't it? Here's Lemon Drop, 1/4 inch. See, that's real tall, okay? So you can poke around on these and decide what it is that you want. I like Lemon Drop, that's cute. And if I want to center this, I can just make sure this one right here up in the objects panel, there is your quilt label right here. There's the label itself, and here's your letters. And I'm going to come to letters, and right there up in this this little tiny one, that's center and hoop, and click it. See, that's centered it. So now I know it's centered vertically or horizontally, and now I'm just going to drag it down. I want it in between right here. I think I want it right there. That looks good. And let me click on this again. This is Lemon Drop 1/4 inch. Okay. And now I'm going to hit the A again. It's still on Lemon Drop 1/4 inch. Let's do a different font. And I'm looking for, here's Octavia 1/4 inch. Ah, that's too squished together. I'm looking for a font to be able to make the date. And I want it to be something cool. Let's see. Any of the 1/4 inch fonts. Here's Taco Tuesday. Why not? That looks pretty good. I'm just going to say January 2022. That's what I've got right over here in the text. I just typed that in. I'm going to hit enter. There, look at that. That changed. I'm going to drag that down. That looks amazing. That is so cool. So I'm going to hold down the shift key and highlight the top one. And oh, that selected the top one and my name. I'm going to hold down control and select the date. And I want to evenly space these. So underneath the center button, I'm going to click this icon right here. And I want to center vertically, and I want to center, I think I want to center horizontally. I don't know if I want to do that. Let me click apply. No, I didn't want to do that. Close. I'm going to click undo. Control Z. Control Z. There. I think that's okay. So this is how I'm going to make my quilt label. I love this. And I'm going to open up, let's see, the Brother Design Database Transfer. I'm going to open that up. And this is a free download from Brother. I'll put a link to it below. And I have a folder on my desktop. If I click desktop, I have a couple folders on my desktop, and one of them is called EMB Designs. I created that, and that is the main folder where I send designs to my machines. So I wanted to send to Spanky by my multi-needle. So I'm going to hit this, drop down here. I'm going to click Spanky, and it's going to think about it for a minute while it connects to Spanky. And now I'm going to say File, Save Stitch File As. And here where it says Save as Type, you can hit the drop down in Brilliance, and you can find every single home embroidery machine file format. It works with all home embroidery machines. Does not matter the brand. And I'm just going to call it Quilt Label 1. And I'm going to click Save in EMB Designs. And so when I come back to this, I'm going to refresh it by just I'll go back to desktop, and then I'm going to go back to EMB Designs. And here it is right here. Isn't that great? So I'm going to make sure it's highlighted. I'm going to hit the arrow add to writing list right there. And I'm going to click this little button with the machine that says transfer. And it says, please wait. Let's see. It's on Spanky. Not responding. It just woke up. That's my internet doing this, not the database. Oh, see, I thought it saw it. Let me click add. Let it find Spanky again. Sometimes they drop off the network machine settings. That's my fault because that's my internet. I've got crappy internet. Let me click add again. Let it refresh the search. Let's see if it finds it. There he is, right there. It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna find Darla because Darla is not turned on. That's my Luminaire. So I'm highlighting Spanky. I'm going to click Add. There we go. Click OK. Now, I'm going to highlight that. Let's see if I can. There, make sure it's highlighted. Well, let's see if we can send it now. There we go. Finished outputting data. Great. So it's already over there at the 10 needle, and I'm going to go change my threads and stitch out my quilt label.
All right, we are over here at the machine, and I have already hooped a piece of no-show poly mesh in my 5x7 hoop. I think I have a 4x4 for this, but this will work just fine. It's no big deal. And I chose no-show poly mesh because it's very soft and it won't change the hand of the quilt when I cut it all away and that's all that's left underneath that little label. I need to change my machine to accept the 5x7 hoop. Back here there are two screws, right here and right here, and you need to loosen both of these with the little screw tool that they gave you, and you just want to get them loose enough so that they will slide, and it will slide until it clicks to the first. I think right there is the 5x7. You can check it out by going ahead and putting the hoop there. I have snapped in the 5x7 hoop. See that? And that's where that needs to be. It kind of clicks when you get it in the right spot. And then you want to tighten these down with that little tool. And if you ever are going along and it tells you change to a bigger hoop size and you know that you don't need to or something, check this middle screw right here. That one may have come loose and it lost the sensor, lost connectivity to tell it what size of hoop you're using. So this is great. I'm going to put some fabric in the hoop and we'll get started. I went ahead and I did do a printout of what I want the design to look like. So I just trimmed it within 1/4 of an inch of the outside, right around 1/4 of an inch approximately, that's all. And I have this scrap of this dot fabric and I folded it into a triangle. It was a rectangle. You can kind of see the extra hanging off here. That'll be scrap. I folded it so I have a triangle because I want to stitch this into the binding. That's why I stopped binding in the first place. I've already put some 505 temporary adhesive onto the stabilizer and I folded this so I matched my triangle tips, made myself a little crease. This is the Dime Designs and Machine Embroidery hoop mat. This is so handy when you have to find center. And my little crease, I'm just putting it on there. The vertical, I'm making sure that the tip, the bottom tip is on the black line and the top little crease is on the black line. And it doesn't have to be that high. I can pull it down just a little bit closer to center. I just want to make sure that that's straight on that point. And then I can take this and I can put it here and I can see that I'm going to have enough room here on my corners over here to make it so that the binding will go on and it will get, this edge will get captured in the binding, but it won't catch the stitches. And this just needs to be approximate, and I'm going to take my pins and I'm going to pin up here in the top. I'm floating this. This is called floating. And you make sure you're straight with your fabric. Let's see. That looks pretty straight to me because I folded it in half down here. So I'm going to do this. If you have a brother or a baby lock machine, you can use a snowman. And this snowman sticker has a special ink that can be seen by the machine. So I want to put this right on center where I want it to stitch. I think I'm going to want it kind of like that, just to make sure I'm eyeballing these corners over here and down here on the bottom and making sure the top of the design is on that, on the edge, and it's going to stitch just right on the edge of the fabric. This looks good. And I have pre-folded this on these crosshairs. So I'm going to fold this down. And then I'm going to fold it over. So now I have folded the design in quarters without moving the paper off the project. And I'm going to put the bottom quarter of the snowman sticker right up to the belly button and get it straight, just like that. There. And I'm going to show you how to use the snowman. But first, I want to pin down this bottom edge down here. I don't think I want to put any pins over here any closer to the edge. I don't think. It should be okay. Should be. We'll cross our fingers. How's that? I'm going to take this pin right on the edge of this fabric. Pin that. It should not hit the pin. Shouldn't. We're ready to stitch. All right, I'm going to put my hoop into the machine. I'm going to pull the design up now, and I sent it over wirelessly using the Database Design Center from Brother. So I'm going to touch the wireless icon, and that design database transfer feature I do believe works for the Baby Lock machines as well. And it's right here, the very first one, and I'm going to tell it set. So here is where I could choose it and put it in the machine's memory. I could delete it, I can go back to home, but I'm just going to hit set. And that's great. And here's where you can do any editing. You can play with the size, you can rotate it, you can do anything you want. I don't want to do anything with it, so I'm just going to touch edit end. And now we're at the screen where I need to tell it what spool to use for which stitch. So I'm going to touch these 3 spools right here, and it gives you a little preview. It tells you we are on stitch number 1 out of 6, and stitch number 1 I want to be a Christmas red. So these boxes right over here, these buttons, correspond to the 6 stitches that we're going to do, and these boxes right here correspond to the 10 spools on the back of the machine. So I have Christmas red on spool number 10. So I touched the 10 and my 1 changed to a 10. Number 2, stitch number 2. Stitch number 2 is my thread spools. I want that to be a gold, and I have a gold thread on spool number 1. This is really quick and easy because I don't have any applique, so I don't have to tell it to stop at all. And the next one is the needle, and the needle is on spool number 7. My silver is on spool number 7. Number 4, those are the little hearts, and I want those hearts to be in red as well. That's spool number 10. And handcrafted by, I want that to be in Christmas green, which is on spool number 3. And then number 6 are my name and the month, the date, and I want that to be in blue on spool number 9. There we go. Now these didn't change colors up here because I didn't change them inside of the machine brain. I'm just going through and telling it what spool to use for that stitch. It has all these isocord numbers over here. It doesn't matter. The machine does not care. It doesn't care at all. So I'm just going to tell it okay now. And I do want to make sure it starts in the right place. So here is the snowman button. I'm going to touch that. And it's going to revert to position angle. I'm just going to tell it okay. And now I'm going to tell it okay. And it says the embroidery unit will move. I'm going to tell it okay. And it's going to take a picture. And it's moving around. You can see it here on the screen. See, it says recognizing. There. Now it says remove the embroidery positioning mark. I'm going to tell it that reminds you to pull that off so you don't stitch that on. I'm not going to tell you how many times I've done that on a machine that uses snowman technology, like on my Quattro, and it didn't tell me to remove the mark. Tell it okay. It has repositioned itself, and it is ready to go. Touch embroidery and set it. Now it's all set. It's going to take 19 minutes to stitch out. We're on 0 of 6. It's 8,819 stitches. And number 1 is highlighted, so it tells you we're on the first stitch. And it even has the needle plus minus if you have a boo-boo and you have to go back. And I'm going to hit lock and go. It went over all the way over to spool number 10 first, the number 10 needle. I'm going to put it on pause for a second by touching the green button. And I bet you, because of the dense satin stitching and the lettering, I'm going to get some puckering. So I'm going to take the hoop out right now, and I am going to iron on some SF101 to the back of the hoop on the bottom. Okay, on the back of the hoop, I just ironed on a piece of SF101. Don't be afraid. If you, like I kind of noticed little tiny puckers right here. Don't be afraid to pull that hoop out and fix. Do whatever you can to make it come out exactly the way you want. I'm going to touch lock and go. And I bet you I'm going to get a beautiful result now. Better than I would have without the SF101 behind it. I just opened up my stitch monitor on my phone. It sees Spanky is running. This is the Brother My Stitch Monitor. I'm going to touch Spanky. And there, the embroidery data just loaded into my phone. And it tells me it's got 17 minutes left. It tells me where it is in the stitch sequence. I'm just going to go about my business until my phone tells me that it's finished. I just received a broken thread notification on my Brother My Stitch Monitor. I'm going to touch the cancel button and just do that to get rid of the blinking light. Let's see what we've got. Look how pretty this is. No puckers at all, and that's because I put that SF101 on the back. I used the original magnetic core Filtech bobbins in I believe these are a 90 weight. I'm pretty sure this is what I'm using right here. So it's a Magna Glide, 135 yards. So on these, you can see the black magnet part on one side and not on the other. And you put the magnet, there's no spring in here because I have a magnet. If I didn't have a magnetic bobbin, I would have to have a spring. So I'm going to put that in there. I took the spring out and pop that in just like that and put it back in there. Re-oiling the machine because I changed the bobbin. I don't run this machine day in and day out, so I don't put a drop of oil every day like it says. But what happened was it broke. The thread had a hiccup. So let me show you how to pop this in here. We got so close. I'm halfway through January. The machine came with a little tool that has a little notch there in the top of it. And it also has a hook back here. And I'm going to zoom in real close so you can see what I'm doing with the needle. I need to get the thread behind this little loop right here. And so you want to put the tool on the thread and get it way up close up past the back of that loop, and it pulls right through like that. And then there is a needle threading button on the front of the screen down at the bottom. And a tiny little hook just came through the needle, the eye of the needle. And I use my finger to put that thread under the two little prongs that came out and under this little foot. Just like that, and I pull it up and over, and there is a thread cutter right above the needle, and then I'm just going to hit the the needle threader button, and that looked like that didn't work that well. What do we got going on here? pull this out. I need my scissors. Where are they? Pull a good portion down. Oh, we are caught up underneath here on that little thing. Huh. That's weird. I need my glasses. I can't see. Let me get my little tweezers up here. It got wrapped around that little foot for some reason. Ah, there you are. Pesky little thing. That's all right. Okay. There we go. That's fixed. Okay. Now, when you have a problem like that, you would want to back up some stitches so you can make sure that everything's stitched nice and clean. And so this is the needle plus minus button. I'm going to touch it, and I'm going to go back like 20 stitches, maybe 30. There we go. And I'm going to touch OK, and tell it lock and go. That was the right thing to do, that 30 stitches. All finished. Awesome. Oh, that turned out so cute. I'm going to take it out of the hoop, and I'm going to trim my triangle and get rid of any little jump threads that I need to get rid of. And then I'm going to sew this triangle into the binding of my quilt. Well, guys, this was a lot of fun. I have got it all customized now. I'm going to save it in my laptop, and that way next time I need to make one of these, I just need to change the seasonal colors if I want, and I'm ready to stitch out some more. As a matter of fact, I can stitch them out ahead of time. That'll be great. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. We'll talk to you soon. Go sew something. Bye.